his five-fold vision strategy, and a central element of his approach is harnessing the abundant solar power available across the continent. So green energy here. Specifically, Mr. Mani is involved with Origin, and it's an initiative aiming to develop clean electricity for the masses by utilizing all this sun, the solar energy in Africa, thereby tackling this region's energy crisis. So he's telling us that the Origin Solar Station is presented as a direct solution to the crisis, and with efforts starting in Ghana. Mr. Mani's dedication is extending to finding sustainable ways to close Africa's energy gaps by working with governments and companies to identify and illustrate risks, opportunities, and trends. His vision is centered on controlling Africa's energy crisis, which is described as a fundamental matter of life and death due to chronic energy poverty. So we have tech entrepreneur Kane Mani at our table today. Good morning. Welcome to GTV Breakfast.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Glad you were able to join us. So what exactly is the crisis when it comes to energy in Africa?
So Africa's biggest problem is its energy crisis. Africa has 1.3 billion people on the continent. Last night, when you and I went to sleep, 600 million Africans slept without light. 600 million Africans have never seen electricity in their households.
That's almost half.
Exactly, and that is a big deal. Apart from that, another 300 million have inconsistent and irregular electricity. And this is the continent with the most sunlight. We are the sunniest continent in the world, yes, the most electrified continent on the planet. You don't have this much sun and don't have electricity. It doesn't make sense. So 900 million Africans don't have access to electricity after the 1.3 billion. So roughly only 400 million Africans have access to electricity, and we have all the sun in the world. So it just doesn't make sense.
It doesn't. I mean, I'm listening to you, and I'm trying to put myself in a place where I've never seen electricity before in my life, because that would mean that I can't charge my phone, I can't read at night, there are no street lights.
Exactly.
When I go to hospital, what kind of service? Like, my mind is going in a number of different directions. How much sunlight do we produce in Africa? Is there data to give us some figures?
So apart from Australia, and Australia it was competing with us a bit, but besides Australia, we have the most sun, to the extent that when we harness our sun power, we can export to become a net exporter of electricity. And all of this is every single day. The sun shines every single day. We don't have days where, like, you see, the thing with us is that with all the sun we have, there are a lot we can do with it. And energy runs through every industry. Without energy, industries can't produce the things they produce, enable the economy to scale and grow. Without energy, average people can't learn, they can't do business. It is so important that we have to fix it in this era. And that's why Origin is embarking on this mission to harness this sun to build technology that enable us to fix this. We think that it is not right that 900 million Africans each night have to go through the challenge of not having access to power. So our mission and our goal is to make electricity available and accessible to everyone, that every single household on the African continent should have access to electricity. So whenever the sun shines, there is power.
I mean, we have a few uses for electricity. Let the Kokonte people breathe for a minute. Let the Kobe people have a moment. But there is more to solar energy than just using it as a preservative to dry food. So what is your proposal?
So what we have done is, we've been thinking about this solution for a long time, as to whenever the sun shines, especially when the sun is really, really shining, we're like, oh, again, like, okay, so that is another...
We think it's a nuisance because it's too hot.
And it's even wasting. Like, I don't think if we're in other parts of the world, with all this sun power, we'll go through all the things that we go through with energy crisis in our part of the world and across the continent. So we thought of a solution where we can build things that can scale it. Now, the problem with the current solar technology is that the current solar panels, which were not built with us in mind because it came from the Western world, can't absorb much sunlight. And the reason is that the current technologies available absorb less. So you need a lot of technology stack to enable it to power. So when you have a solar panel, you need an inverter, you need a battery. The current battery technology also can only store energy for up to 4, 5, 6 hours. So if you want to power this entire studio,
you need more.
You need a lot of batteries. Now, economically, that is not scalable because that is expensive. So those who are producing it can make economic viability of it. So what that means is that you have to now redo the entire stack. You have to build new panels that absorb up to 90% of the sunlight. Then you now build batteries that can last for 90 days, meaning that in times where there is lack of sunlight in rain season, you have energy source to power. When you're done with all of this, we come to the problem of distribution. You can't put these panels in every household because, again, it's not economically viable. So we can put a way where we can transmit the electricity wirelessly by not relying on cables. So once we create the problem of cable from there, we can now deploy the solar stations in neighborhoods and build a transmitter and a receiver that enables the transmission of the power through the air directly to the household. So all those around the enclave get power, and that reduces the costs of cables. That is a huge burden on the distribution.
I mean, you make it sound so easy, but is it as easy as you're saying?
Not at all. It's something that, like I said, we've been researching for a long time because we are very keen about solving the problem. And it's not easy. We have to rebuild a whole lot of things, reinvent a whole lot of technologies, from the panel technology to the battery technology to the transmission technology to the metering technology. And everything we built has been built by us. So there's no foreign technology in there. We have to invent everything. We have to use a whole new approach to enable us to achieve that. And that's the solution we are deploying.
So give me the ads and the disads. When I compare this origin solution tech that you're proposing with the solar energy that we all know, obviously you've said the battery system has been improved, but what are the fundamental differences?
So with the current solar technologies available, you have to deploy to a household. So you have to mount the panel on the roof. You have to deploy the batteries. So you have to do it for each person. And because of the cost in that, most people can't absorb it. So in as much as it solves the whole issue, the cost becomes a barrier. Also, because the batteries can't last much, you have to also rely on the grid, which sometimes may be having challenges and all of that. So it still doesn't solve the problem at scale. For those who have never seen electricity, the 600 million who have never seen electricity, they don't have the economic power to even purchase that because of the cost in manufacturing such technologies. So what our technology does is it takes away the cost barrier because it is neighborhood based. So we take a place like Rage. So we deploy one solar station at Rage, and it covers the Rage enclave, and it can power up to 25,000 homes, 50,000 homes.
No matter their energy consumption levels, because every home has a different dynamic.
Yeah, and because we have so much sunlight that our consumption needs doesn't exceed the sunlight that we produce in Africa. There is so much sunlight available, and when we harness that, we're able to supply it and have excess. So there are three categories that our technology solves for in terms of the consumer. So we have the industries that we are deploying for industries who are the heavy consumers. Then we have the households, and we have those who live in like other fabrications who may not be heavy consumers. So there is, because you and I produce excess electricity, we harness those and pass it on to those who may not have the resources to be able to pay for it as we may be able to pay for it. So they also get an extension of all of that. So now they're able to enjoy electricity without having the burden of having to go through the whole process.
But what has the process been like? Because this needs integration, and for that you need some policy makers to come on board. What kind of conversations have you been having with authorities? Because this is a threat to the established systems in a population that already, has.
So it's not a threat. We won't say it's because threat is too strong a word. We think it's a support system. We're saying that if we leave the burden on the national supplier, there's too much burden.
You mean ECG?
Yes, there's too much burden on national supplier. So we are coming as younger brothers and saying there's too much burden. Let's support with it. So
ease the burden.
Yes, so that we can ease the burden, and others who will maybe frustrated in times where they are having challenges may now rely on us, or they have the option or the alternative is, okay, I want to choose this, I want to choose this. And regarding conversations, so we have conversations with a lot of the stakeholders and the policymakers. We've had conversations with Energy Commission. They are aware of all the things we are doing. We have commissions with the Ghana Highway Authority, with APA, with a couple of investors who are also part of what we are doing. And with all that we are doing, we are setting up a manufacturing site that will manufacture everything locally here. So we are setting up a site as Cape Coast, which the factory we are building to produce the batteries, the panels, the meters, the transmitters. All of them are locally built here. So we are not taking any jobs outside the country. We're not taking any furniture outside the country. We want everything to be built here to enable us to scale everything here.
How much in terms of cost are we looking at? Because if I want energy in my house, and this morning I was having a conversation with a colleague about just the difficulties in getting connected to the grid, even when you do have money. So if this is a viable alternative to grid and even existing solar power, how much are we saving, or how much does your tech save the ordinary Ghanaian that wants to come on board?
So the first thing we save you with, just like you saying, having access to the grid becomes a challenge. The first thing we have done is decentralize access to our technology. So if you want to have access to our technology, when we fully go commercial, all you need to walk into any of our commercial partners and just buy the metering device. You don't need to even engage us. You just buy it and go to the Play Store, download the Origin app, and just activate it and plug it into your household. Then you can now connect to the solar station that has been distributed. Now, what is essential is because we use the natural sun, our cost is very low. We are significantly cheaper than the national.
Give me some figures.
So assuming say you pay $1,000 a month on like currently, you'll be paying about 500 cedis with us, and you'll be guaranteed consistent, reliable, not uninterrupted power with all your devices.
That is bold.
Yes.
And that's like a guarantee. So where have you piloted this? Which, let's say Ridge, because you mentioned Ridge as an example. Have you put a station in a certain area and powered a number of homes for a period? Tell me what that process has been like.
So we have a lab in Kumasi. That's where our manufacturing site is. So we have two sets of teams. We have the software team in Accra. We have the hardware team, the manufacturing team in Kumasi. Now, what we have done is to work on building the pilots. We've now gotten clearance to mount the first solar station, which we are mounting at the Accra Mall interchange. So talking about it being bold, we want, when you're passing by the Accra Mall interchange, the enclave, they want you able to see the solar station. So we're not going to put it at a place that is closed. We want an open place so everybody sees the solar station, the wireless transmission to those areas around there, and how everybody is consuming it. Now that is happening. After we're getting some few clearances from Energy Commission, they just proceed to do that. When we are done with that, we have a couple of companies, industries that we are deploying on their sites to enable them use that as well. Then we have an exhibition, a conference coming up at the Independence Square on 27th of July, where we are bringing a network of them as well, together with an EV that we have created ourselves, and a couple of hardware devices that enable your consumption to be easier, to also execute all of that. Well, now, because of the because it's very capital intensive, what we are doing in September, and we've had conversations with the Ghana Stock Exchange, that we are listed on the Ghana Stock Exchange to raise $300 million to build the factory to enable us to produce these things at scale. So we are looking at deploying 1,000 solar stations across the country between now and 2028 to power the entire country. That's our first step of penetration. So these are the steps taken or the conversation we've had that is aligned with all that we're about to deploy and make it happen. Yeah.
What's the biggest hurdle? Because with any new proposal, even getting the Ghanaian to buy into the idea of solar is a cautiously optimistic venture at best. Because cost barriers, like we've talked about, and just sheer skepticism. People like to stick with what they know. And we haven't fully grasped the concept of solar as we know it now. Now you're bringing us a tech, more like a solar 2.0 version.
Exactly, very advanced.
So what are some of the hurdles that you anticipate or have actually experienced to this journey?
So the first hurdle we like experience is the issue of safety. Because we transmit the electricity wirelessly, people ask whether is it safe enough, is it Earth, wouldn't they be passing by and they'll be electrocuted and all of that.
Like radiation and stuff.
Yes, which is not. See, the thing with tech, and especially in our part of the world, is that if it's from us, people will get a bit skeptical because it's not from the outside world. But all the things like all the safety measures, everything has already been taken care of. We understand what we are into. We understand what we are trying to solve. We understand the relevance of an entire continent, 1.3 billion people, having to rely on our energy solution. This is not child's play. We understand the importance of its value to the economy and how everybody needs to have access to electricity. So we won't come up with something that is outdated, something that has like challenges, something that will cause on safety practices and all of that. So that we have to cross that, and that's why we spend time getting all the government agencies. We have to spend time with Energy Commission, spend time with every regulatory body to ensure that we are in line with all the things that we are building.
Where have you found money to fund this bold vision?
So first of all, the company has been operating for a while. So we've always wanted to do this, but because we had to pour a lot of money in research and a lot of money in building the prototypes, we had to build other solutions that enabled us to get the resources to do this. So one of the things we did was prior to 2018, if you want to buy electricity, you have to go and queue with a vendor. In 2018, before the current app from ACG became a big deal, we invented the technology that enables you to buy prepaid directly from your phone anywhere before we became a mainstream thing. So that became like a bedrock for all the things that we're doing. And also, we also have third-party investors that are heavily backing the company. And like I said, currently we are doing a fundraising of $50 million to deploy through more additional solutions that we have. We have a device called Node that regulates the electricity consumed in your household and stabilizes consumption, so you don't consume above how much you want to consume. Then we have a speaker called a Sonar Smart Speaker, where you just talk to it and it buys prepaid for you instantly. Then we have the solar station, we have Volt Guard. We have all the solutions that generate the resources for us to finance all the things financing, together with all the investors that are backing this, and the IPO that we are about to have by listing on the Ghana Stock Exchange.
Okay, so if your eyes are your oracle and you want to actually see this in motion, like I am very, very motivated to come and see. You talked about a station at Accra Mall Interchange.
Yes.
When is that going up?
So we wanted it to go up last month, but we're waiting for one final approval. So we are hoping to go up this month. Our end, everything is done. We're just waiting for that one last certification. Then, so we are hoping that before the end of the month or early May, the station should be up.
And you're also coming up with an electronic vehicle, an EV, you said?
Yes. So
a Ghanaian-made electronic vehicle.
Yeah, fully manufactured here, everything done here. Now, the reason for that is that after we produce electricity, and there's so much of that, like in excess, has to be consumed. The amount of vehicle that we import in our country, which is EV is about $300 to $400 million, and that is a lot of money going out of the country, and the solution of the emission is being solved with what we are building. So now we want to also enable those who are consuming our power to have access to EVs at high level. Like these are not like just any EVs; these are highly scalable EVs with a lot of high-end solutions inbuilt.
Competitive with the now brands that we know.
Exactly. So we will unleash one or two at our conference at the Independence Square on July 27th. Now, with our EVs, you don't pay for it. You pay for with the electricity that you consume. So it's all tied to your consumption. So the more you consume, the more you have access to it. So there's a way that our business model works, which we will announce it at our conference at the Independence Square on July 27th.
Who are you expecting to attend?
We want everyone to attend. We want the public to attend, and that's why we've done such an open space. It's purely exhibition. So we are building a movable house that will be at the center of the Independence Square, where the station will be powering the house. You enter the house, you feel how the electricity is being used. You experience everything with your two eyes. So it's not like we are even saying it. Come and touch, feel, see. Then you also said EV and all the other perks that comes with it.
Kane, thank you for sitting with us this morning. I'm excited just listening to you.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that those who have listened to us are also excited. So alternative energy solutions, tackling Africa's big energy crisis, ensuring that every home does have access to that crucial power. Young Ghanaians with the technical know-how are leading the charge. Kane and his guys are available, and you can reach them where?
So I'll put my number on. Mm-hmm. Okay, so you can reach us through 020-491-3038. 020-491-3038. We're happy to show you what we have built.
Okay, yeah. And if you're excited to see it, get in touch with them. Energy solutions is what we've discussed here. I am Thelma Taki. We'll take a break. When we return, the show continues. You want to stay with us.